Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Battlefield of Eternity! We are still in Group D, and we got Team France against Germany 3. And by the way, I am lying a little bit, because we are not in Group D. Let me actually look quick. We're in Group C right now, sorry. We're a little bit all over the place today. Tim is with me once again. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. We've already seen Team Germany 1, I think, against Team France 1, so I'm excited to see what Team France 3 will be like against Team Germany 3.
So it
should be a good time.
For sure. Like, this is actually the match that is likely going to determine the second place in Group C. Now, there are still a couple of matches to be played out. Netherlands is currently in the lead, so technically the first place hasn't even been locked in yet. But currently the situation would be that the winning team will draw even with the Netherlands. And again, just a couple of stats around the tournament. We have $10,000 of prize money on the line in total. 28 teams have signed up. It was open signups. Anybody could sign up a team. There are no restrictions when it comes to skill level or anything of the sorts. The only one was that all of the players have to be from the same country. 17 countries are being represented right now, which obviously also means that for each country, multiple teams could sign up. This is exactly why we have now France 3, Germany 3, because we had multiple teams from both countries sign up for the event and trying to make it through the group stage. Currently we have 7 groups, 4 teams each, full round robin that gets played out. The winning team in the group makes it into the second phase of the tournament, and we're going to determine a final team that also advances, and that's where all the second places in the group are becoming important, because they move on to a last chance qualifier where the final team to move on to stage 2 is determined. And that is essentially what's happening here. Netherlands in Group C, they are in the lead, they're in the top spot right now, and whichever team wins from France 3 and Germany 3 is going to draw even with them in points. And then very likely we're going to see that battle for number 1 and number 2. So this is a super important match for the two teams at hand now.
Okay, and of course, to add on top of that, just for this series or in general, every series that you launch, is when a character is played, they will not be available in the next round as well. So remember, there are layers to this drafting. And we are currently underway on Battlefield of Eternity, a map that does require a lot of team fighting. Probably one of our most heavy team fighting maps, which is kind of crazy because Heroes of Storm in general is just a lot of team fighting.
Yep.
But we got Blaze, Murd, and Hanzo. You want to have good damage PvE control because you want to be able to clear out Immortals really quickly, but you also want to have hard CC and engages. We have that like crazy for our team here on the left, and team on the right, our red team, has Dahaka and Tyrael looking for a little bit of global pressure, and of course a lot of dancing with that Tyrael. And to be fair, I feel like Tyrael's been really strong in this tournament. Obviously, I don't have any stats on top of me, but the 2 or 3 games I've seen him in, he has been impactful.
Absolutely, and we now, I mean, there's so many things going on here. First of all, I already told Tim that Sugar Daddy has the best tongue in the Nexus, and he's trying to prove it. He's trying to prove it again by going for Dahaka, so he has his go-to pick already. And then we have Menaldor on Tyrael, the love child of Mena and Khaldor, as hailed in the past. There's a lot of good stuff going on. And we have the new patch. This is played on the new patch, the Mythic patch, since Blizzard has now renamed the Pinnacle rewards into Mythic rewards, the quests, and that obviously impacts, for example, Murden with his baseline. Is he going to get at any point in a competitive match to 200 stacks or not? But gets, of course, also some rewards before that. Deathwing not banned out here. He's another one that a lot of people are excited about. We saw him in our first series of the day when Team Poland played against Russia. But what we're going to get from the Germans is Vala, very likely with an arrow build, played apparently by the Athletic Bird.
Do you have an idea of how many characters in general have been changed on this Mythic Quest? The only one that I saw, because I haven't played yet on the new patch, is I saw that Murky lost a Big Tuna Kahuna, and he's had some changes, and of course that tilted me because Big Tuna Kahuna is my favorite storm power. I was like, what is the janitor smoking, bro? That was like the coolest storm talent, and whatever you put on Murky better be equally as cool, or I'm going to be mad. So I'm probably going to spend a day this week playing through all the new stuff, but how many changes in total would you say there are? Like 7, 8
6,
characters?
7, something like that, on the top of my head. We can go over them in the game in just a moment. Some obviously were already had a new quest added in the previous patch, and some of them are a little bit weird, you know, where it's not really like, yeah, whatever. Gul'dan, for example, with his Echoed Corruption. Technically a Pinnacle reward, but it doesn't really play the biggest role. You always have to check, is it something for competitive, or is it something that is more likely that it will play a role eventually in a quick match, and that's about it. But I mean, we're going to see some of it in action right now as we're heading into game number 1, everybody. Battlefield of Eternity! Map number 1. Team France in blue, ladies and gentlemen. Over on the left side, we got Vlida on Muradin. Keep in mind, a little bit of a different baseline for him now. It's hammer time, so one of the changes in the patch. Drax on Tyrande, we got Viders on Blaze. Splice with Thrall. Also, some changes with his Echo of Elements when it comes to the Mythic reward, but still, that Wind Fury quest, of course, extremely juicy. And is also exactly what Thrall is now going for, as we have last but not least on the blue team side, Lolom with Hanzo.
Our red team, we have Athletic Bird on Malthaeus, Mara on Vala, Timidity on Malfurion, Mene on Tyrael, and then Sugar Daddy 69 on Dahaka.
Alright, Menador. Mena would be playing for the French, and he's not here. I would love for Mena to actually join the event here, but he hasn't. Level 1, by the way, given the axe, so Muradin, slight adjustments here as well. You can work really heavily around the auto attacks right now if you want to. Generally speaking, when we talk about the Mythic reward, it is a bit harder to get. If you have a triple frontline, as they do, chances are a bit higher that you're going to get somewhere with it. But that 50 stack reward where you get some cooldown reduction and also pierce is already pretty neat, so they're going to work on that. And Blizzard is clearly pushing all of this into a direction where they want more and more like quest talents for heroes. So we have it on Vala right now. We have Tyrael, at least with his Ardent Restoration, and the baseline for Muradin, and of course Thrall with his level 1 with a Maelstrom weapon.
Honestly, I think I kind of like it. If we start getting a lot of talents on multiple heroes that have these insane metrics you have to hit, like 200 and 250, I think it adds an element to Hans. Hang on here, as Menador is in trouble right now. Okay, he's able to get out. One of the major feedbacks that we got when I was a community manager at Heroes of the Storm, mostly from the eastern side of the world, is I don't feel like I have individual gameplay, and I don't have priority like I do in other MOBAs. I can't be a god, right? I can't just build items and run over people. If we get talents that allow people to show off their individual gameplay and it has a insane stacking talent next to it as well, I'm okay with them taking over the lobby and feeling that godlike power, and I think it's unique to Hans. And I think they're actually kind of cooking something here. So, you know, a little bit of applause to the janitor, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds, man. I am worried about how it'll affect competitive play, but at the same time, like, you know, Hans needs something new.
I mean, there's the thing. I don't really feel like it's going to... Here's the problem. Blizzard just, let's be honest, they don't give a shit about competitive play. They don't care anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and I don't think they should, to be quite frank, like, now that we're, like, so far late in the game, you know?
Yeah, well...
I think they should give people like you money and let them run tournaments, but in terms of balance, like...
For obvious reasons, I disagree, because it's all I care about at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But the point that I'm trying to make is, it is going to be, by definition, way harder to complete any quest in a competitive environment. Yes, the player that is trying to complete it will have higher mechanical skills, very likely, than what you experience in a typical solo queue game. But the margin of error in competitive play is so much smaller that it's harder for players to stack. So I don't think that any balancing that they do is going to have a negative effect for competitive play. If anything, it's going to be nearly impossible to hit some of these mythical rewards because they're easier to get in Clown Fiesta, that is solo queue, than in a normal game. So they will most likely look at Muradin, for example, and say like, hey, that mythic reward needs 200 stacks right now. How often is this being hit in Storm League? And if they see that it's never completed, I think they will adjust that number down a little bit and maybe make it 175 or something. But once that they find a sweet spot for solo play, they will most likely keep it there, and then it's just a question of whether or not you have the occasional outlier game in competitive where you can also benefit from it.
Oh my god!
Wow! What a deletion!
That's why I wish they had like a king question emote in this game, because holy moly, poor Vala just got bobbed on. And now when you lose a vehicle behind your team comp, which Vala is, especially on this map in Battlefield of Eternity, you just get ran over. That's what we just saw there. The blue team, after getting a pick on Vala, finds Malfield as well, and that's 10 more seconds until we have 5 more people on the field.
Yeah, you gotta love the Germans. They're even dying efficiently. There was no time wasted there. Vala just insta-dead.
Sometimes Khaldor is really funny, guys. That deserves a lull in chat. All right, so we do have the halftime show being picked up here, and it looks like Team France is going to be grabbing it pretty easily. I'm not going to lie, actually a pretty good turnaround here from Team Germany, getting a decent amount of damage on top of that as well, really showcasing what Vala can do with her Hungering Arrow build. Thrall now in trouble, though, and Team Germany is like, all right, bro, you want to pop our Vala? We're going to pop somebody on your side now. They come in for a full engage on Vleeder. He's on Muradin. Can he dwarf toss out? We'll see in a second, because Vala gets hit with a wolf, and is able to escape at the last second. There's going to be one pick coming in, and Athletic Bird, it seems to be disengaging as well. Now it's all about defending the Immortal on the top side, which Team Germany should be able to do easily, but wow, what a back and forth already with 3 kills in our first 5 minutes of the game.
Absolutely, and Vala, of course, trying to stack. The interesting part is that Thrall is doing very well too, 16 stacks already, so he needs the first 25 for quest reward number 1. But as we always highlight, if he makes it to 55, this is already an incredible damage increase that is really going to help him to just delete heroes on the other side. So if they can keep this up, that would be fantastic for them. But both teams very aggressive. Oh, Sugar Daddy 69 at the bot lane, surviving and misses a Tong. Unheard of. Absolutely unheard. I wonder if he's sick. That worries me a little bit. Like,
That's not being feeling well at all. Good attempt on the tongue there, and we're going to have a bit of a fight over the camp here on the bottom. And I actually think Team France wants this thing. As you can see, Thrall is rotating down from the middle of the map here, looking for a full engage. So this should be given up by Team Germany. We'll see if they're going to be able to do just that. And yes, they do give it away while Malthael pushes up in the top lane. Problem with this, and why you're seeing France being able to rotate to the bottom lane, is Malthael is not going to do too much damage. Even with the inspiration buffs, they should be able to get back there in time to clear that up. So big pickup by Team France, as we say, close in experience. 9 right around the corner.
Smaragd by now with 11 stacks on Vala really needs to get those numbers up and is working on it so that they can prep for the next Immortal and then start doing the big damage now that he has access to Monster Hunter. But Thrall is also working it, so there's a lot of stacks coming in as everybody is working on their rewards here in the early game. So lots of focus and lots of mechanical plays. Both of the teams are fully aware, of course, how important this series is. I highlighted it during the draft, but this is literally to draw even with the Netherlands for the at least temporary first spot in the group. And even if you can't claim first slot, fighting for number 2 is super important to at a minimum be able to compete in the last chance qualifier. And well, right now both of the teams with lots of aggression and looking for level 10 abilities.
Root comes down, Murden takes some damage, have not used the Dwarf House yet, should be able to back away. 10 right around the corner for both of our teams, and we do have the fight for the Immortals beginning now. Vala and crew actually descend to go to their camp here in the top right corner. They want to have some pressure during this initial phase, and with these Immortal spawns, it does make it easier for you to go these camps. This is a defensive position, so if you do see this in your own games, make sure to grab those camps and get those pushing at the same time as well. Now, let's look at our heroics. Anything incredible standing out to you, Mr. Khaldor?
Nothing really too insane. I mean, we get last rights here, so they're trying to snipe a few targets on the other side. Turanda has now also made her choice. With her in play, you have now the Hunter's Mark against the Immortal. You have lots of stuns coming in, of course, too. If you can chain that properly with Sundering followed by a Hanzo Arrow, you have a lot of good tools to just get endless CC stacked here. Sugar Daddy gets skanked at the top lane, still able to get out, and now the red team is rotating up as they're trying to see if they can maybe get a hit in, but Thrall escapes towards the top, lays towards the fort, and the Immortals are already up, so they have to still link around towards the middle so that they can try and get some damage in on the objective, especially now with Vala and her stacks on level 1.
Gotta be careful though, because Germany just had that big push they have to deal with in the bottom lane. Full engage here on Khaldor, as it's going to be a Hanzo arrow coming out, getting some decent damage on top of him. Sugar Daddy 69 trying to retreat, goes for the burrow. Here's the jet propulsion, locking him into a corner. Malfurion trying for the heals, but he's more of a heal over time kind of guy. He can't burst heal you, and that's going to be a Dahaka down. Athletic Bird was able to fight down there on the bottom lane. Judgment coming out from Khaldor. They're trying to find the kill, a last rites, and they do get a kill. Tyrael trait coming in as well. Athletic Bird continuing to kite away, while Smarter is trying his best to just get some hungry arrows in, but he's had to be careful with the amount of jumps that he's had to deal with this game.
Yeah, Tyrael needs a new pair of glasses. I mean, he just full-on committed Sudoku here as he moved straight into the fight after the fight was essentially already over. The Haka is dead, and then he jumps in and just makes it a double kill for the French team. Frenchies are going to be pretty happy with that, of course. They're looking great here right now with a lead in experience, albeit small. And they're moving in for some camps as they have 4 kills to 2. And decent stacks also on Thrall and Muradin, who's sitting at 43 on his baseline, so will very soon get his first quest reward.
There it is. Muradin coming in, looking for a flank here. Stormbolt goes out. Thrall stepping up. Where's the wolf at? I don't think he actually sent it out yet, or he may have sent it earlier off camera. And no pick is going to occur. Man, the Immortal phase. Between both these teams, they have been willing to really push out their ways. I mean, it makes sense, too. If you have Dahaka on a map, if you leave him by himself in terms of wave control, he is going to eventually cause an issue. Here's a Judgment on the side. Sugar Daddy 69 coming around. Still has his tongue available. Will he find one? He does hit it. Here comes the Tranquility from Malfurion, and there we go. Germany finding their first kill in this fight and looking for a second.
That's the second stack that they now have for Malthael. They're really trying to play around this Judgment combo to get stacks for Malthael and the cooldown reduction that comes with it. There's the tongue from the daddy, and they get the kill. Blaze is done. Well played.
Man, that sounds like a title of a video I saw the other day. The tongue from the daddy. There goes the
one with the bold guy?
Focused down. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, is that your cousin? Halfway through on the Immortal phase, and the halftime show is here. Sugar Daddy 69 all by himself. Looking over at Tyrael here. Will he be able to show up in time? A tongue connects. Here comes the Hungering Arrow, and Khaldor causes some issues in the back line, but does teleport back at the right time. And this Immortal, it might be kind of huge, man. Vala already burning it down. Look at that red health bar available for them.
Yeah, they are. Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised at how well Germany did in that Immortal phase. The French team, up to this point, has been, I want to say, looking a little bit stronger, a bit cleaner in those fights. So the Germans were able to turn it around with the aggression through Khaldor's Tyrael and then the follow-up from Malthael, getting those kills and then getting Vala into a perfect position to burn down the Immortal thanks to her Hungering Arrow build. So now they have a massive shield on the second Immortal and should be able to take that fort down at the bottom of the map.
Yeah, and why it's important for those that may not watch HOTS or play HOTS, whenever you have a shield on the Immortal, it stays in range mode. And sure, it will get hit by the tower, but of course it's a little bit harder for the opposing heroes to hit it. That shield just gives you that much more firepower. And then of course when the shield goes away, it will go into melee form. Here comes another engage, right underneath the tower. Vala goes in, there goes the Hungering Arrow. Last ride, boom! Another pick coming in from Athletic Bird, and this guy is cooking now. The cooldown reduction coming in, the team playing around it, the CC, and they still have an Immortal to follow up with.
They're looking great here. Another lick from the Haka, and that was the second kill for the teams. And now they took down Muradin and Tyrande, break through the fort, and they are also opening up the wall at the bottom of the map to get access to the keep itself. And they are just continuing here. It's a 5 versus 3, so why wouldn't they? They have a 1 level advantage, and Germany is just crushing it at this point in game number 1.
Look at that keep. Oh my gosh. 12 minutes in the game and the keep is down to half HP. Now you have that catapult pressure down there. You can work in some mercenary camps if you would like. Good news is it's not the top lane for Team France here, because that's the one that you can usually send the goats down to be really obnoxious, but still, there is a decent amount of firepower in that bottom lane. If they are not too careful, they could have a keep lost in the middle of an Immortal phase. Look at the experience too, Khaldor. 15.5 to nearly 14 3/4. This is a nice lead here for Team Germany.
It absolutely is, and they find themselves in a situation where they will hit an early level 16 for a talent advantage, and for the blue team that just means playing it a bit safer, trying to get lane experience, and it's also the main reason why they took their own shaman camp so early, because they realized that, hey, our opponents get a talent advantage any moment, there's a good chance they're trying to steal our camp away, so let's take it before they are willing to engage into that battle and don't have that advantage yet. I mean, totally understandable, but for Germany, 3 stacks on Malthael, 15-second cooldown reduction, so they're looking strong, and here's that level 16 talent I've been talking about a second ago.
Man, these two tanks, Khaldor and Bleeder, are really working each other, man. Watching out for the bush flanks, seeking each other out, making sure that Vala isn't being popped on. I feel like Team Germany made a call after that first initial kill to be a bit more careful. Unstoppable comes out for Malthael. 16 to 15 is here, so a slight talent advantage, but Dahaka is in the bottom lane. Last race comes out. There's the Judgment! I think they had it just in time for that to connect, getting an additional stack. I'll check that in a second here. As Sugar Daddy's coming in and looking for a tongue.
And well, there connects his ult. And they are going straight in for Tyrande. Get the kill. That's 2 kills. Muradin and Tyrande just came back and they're already dead again back at the Nexus. 8 kills to 4 now. Germany exploiting that level 16 talent advantage as they're going in for Hanzo, for Blaze. They kill 2. Only Thrall survives and he barely makes it out as the red team goes straight up for that fort and drops it as well. Big momentum now for the Germans as they're going through the French like hot butter through cheese.
Ooh, I love it when my hot butter goes through my cheese. Sugar Daddy 69 steps up, start working on this Immortal here. And what's that?
Tasty.
It is so tasty. I love it. Immortal phase going easily over here to Team Germany. We'll see if they can get a little bit more. There's still 8 seconds before Blaze is back on the field, and Hanzo as well, which is going to be your main poke and damage. They're even grabbing the camp here on the far right side. To be quite frank with you, if I was a betting man, I would put money on Team Germany right now to win this game out. It is starting to look rough for Team France, but they are at least close as another Judgment comes out, another drag into a possible Immortal Stone. Massive arrow, though. Timothy gonna be having some heals, and here comes Maragod looking for some damage.
Yeah, once again, Sugar Daddy setting them up. And another lick! Again, the ratio is there. The legend is alive. Sugar Daddy with one lick after another. They couldn't kill Muradin because the rest of the team didn't believe in him. But they followed up on Thrall, and that's kill number 11 for the red team. Full on control again in the numbers advantage as the battle for Immortal number 3 is raging on.
The tug known around the world. Khaldor in the top left corner just trying to grab some more experience and pushing those waves so the catapults will start hitting. Malfurion's going to come over and help him out. Gets hit with the Lunar Flare. Can he get away? Didn't quite have the Eldrune. And that's going to be a bit of a rough death, actually. He's able to at least clear out the minion wave. Dahaka goes to the bottom lane and starts working on the keep. And if he can get this keep, that death is actually going to feel really fine overall. Look at this. A burrow up to the top. You know what? I'm starting to become a fan of Sugar Daddy 69. I'm loving the objective play. I'm seeing the tongues. I'm becoming a fan.
Yeah, I wish he could play the Haga more often, but of course every single hero can only be played once within a series. That's the good news for the French. So he can't play the same hero again. But
you only have to deal with the tongue once, and you're good.
Exactly.
No more lashings after this.
I mean, they're 6 kills ahead now, and they're actually ignoring the Immortal. They're just saying, you know what, guys, we are now ahead by more than 1.5 levels. How about with Tyrael dead, we're not pushing here. We're just letting them defend and wait for level 20 and then play out that advantage instead.
Okay, can't be and grab the top side. Yeah, the focus, as you were saying, Khaldor, is just get to level 20 no matter what here for Team Germany. You'll probably see them be a little bit more evasive compared to what we've seen from them so far in the game. If they see any wind of a blue member in the area, they're going back away and instead take the free experience. And that is, of course, in the form of the minion waves and the mercenary camps. Whew, if they can get that 20 before the next Immortal phase, I am terrified for France. We're going to have to get a hard engage and try to find Vala once again. That's one of the best ways to break this comp apart. Of course, Malfurion will be a great second kill as well.
Yeah, I mean, down at the bottom of the map now, I mean, Vala is sitting at 51,000 damage so far. Hanzo is a bit ahead of her, but for Vala, the real tool is also her utility during the Immortal phase. For Hanzo, you can apply the same logic here, but it feels that lately, in the last couple of fights, France just wasn't able to make a real dent. So, we had a couple of kills for them, but they never were able to contest an Immortal properly because Germany was just looking too strong, and now they have to go for the same play. They take their own mercenary camp, because they know the red team is going to hit level 20 any moment. Place there. They have to actually abandon it to help him out. But look at that! The Haka down! Nicely done! The French! Bit of a comeback play here. I like it.
Odd play here from Team Germany, but a cleanse just come out here from the Nature's Calling thanks to them out there. Oh! The Sunder knocks 3 into the corner. Ball's able to slow it down there with a beautiful Rain of Vengeance. Last Rites comes out, but all the ultimates have now been used for Team Germany, and now we're going to be able to see what exactly a Hanzo can do if he can get to the Immortal phase before his opponent. 35 seconds before Dahaka is up, and he has a full Scatter Arrow build here, so he should be doing some decent chunk of damage.
We have no Acrobat for Vala, so lots of more stacks are going to come in. 35 so far, which is decent, especially for the damage against the Immortal, but honestly, it's not really unheard of or anything. But if Smaragd in the next few team fights can stack this more aggressively, then great. The problem is honestly that without level 20 for Team France, they're just not comfortable going toe-to-toe with their opponents, and that allows Vala to go against the Immortal again. And given where she is right now in stacks and with Acrobat, they are chunking this thing down to nearly 50% within the blink of the eye. So they're super quick here, and Dahaka is back now.
Yep, Blaze token 20, throw on the top side, should be able to get it out. They did see a few people disappear, so Merden's trying to get an idea of where everyone is. Khaldor is currently trying to defend this Immortal while Hanzo pokes away with those Scatter Arrows. And here we go, 20-20. Team France is down, but they are certainly in the game. That pitch really gave them a breath of fresh air, but can they finish it?
Dahaka trying to come in from the side, already angling to flank in later on, but the blue team going for the engage. They want Tyrael, and they drop him. Everything unleashed against Khaldor. They get the kill, another big lick from Dahaka as he's trying to go for the counter, but Last Rites does not finish off Murden, and instead it is Sugar Daddy that gets eliminated. The Germans down to 3 players, and barely Malthal making it out of the fight, as Team France is picking up momentum and is really working on that comeback.
I think they heard about my fake bet earlier, and now they're like, wait a minute, and they put bets on themselves. What they're really doing well here is finding a target and then using Thrall, Sundering, and Hanzo's arrow to deflect the opposing team while they focus down one target. And that has been paying off for them in dividends so far. I wonder if they're going to continue keep going with that strategy, or if Team Germany has been aware of it. Malfear's been doing his best here to get off that Nature's Culling heal, being able to clear out anything coming his way, but he only has one cleansing. He doesn't have any burst heal, so focusing one target is a great idea here for Team France, and we'll see if they can continue it here as they get an Immortal that will be pushing in the bottom lane.
I mean, the good news, obviously, for the Germans is they haven't lost a single fort yet. So this is going to happen now. You won't be able to sustain those. But it is still a situation in which they're not going to lose their keep and core immediately. They have a buffer that they can play around with. They have to ensure, though, that they're not dying on defense, or this is going to be an easy walkthrough for the French. So play this out slow. They have everybody back up on the map. And yeah, this is where the first fort is gone. The shield on the Immortal nearly destroyed as well, but let's see what the French can do here, how far they can push this.
Yeah, they got the final curtain on Malthael. You'll see it on his E. It leaves the Dark Shroud around a little bit longer. Very, very helpful against the Immortal phase. And of course, Vala's Q has been strong, as we have already stated out throughout the match. They should be able to finish out losing their keep. Melindor just doing enough pressure on the back left to make sure that no one's going to be moving in. And there goes the Immortal. Sundering does come out, and oh my gosh. Vala overstepped. Another pick comes in. There's a Malthael. France is going for the win here. Holy crap. They turn around for some more damage. Get a Melindor dropped out the bunker as well for additional firepower. I did not expect to see this in the last couple of minutes. I will not lie to you, Khaldor. I really thought Team Germany had this in the bag, but France is stepping up and cleaning house.
I definitely didn't expect that whatsoever, but damn, France is really pushing this to 100. Taking down the keep, basically wiping the entire German team off the map and now making the big play here straight for the core. First they were able to get the big hit in, the big kill of course, against Vala, and then one after another they all died. Huge plays here from Team France, and ladies and gentlemen, this is looking like game full-on comeback move by the blue team as they take it. They win Battlefield of Eternity and just shut down the German team as they take the lead in this best-of-3 series in Group C. GG. I hope all of you guys enjoy the Nations Cup. We have an awesome event going on right now with a lot of amazing games. Honestly, I can't imagine how many teams we had sign up for this one, so it's really, truly been a blast. But please keep in mind that all of these events are only possible because we have private supporters, we have support on Patreon, and of course also campaigns that we run on the channel. And right now you can support the channel for free. So if you don't have the money to spare to support the channel on Patreon, for example, or become a subscriber on Twitch, this is a perfect opportunity to still help us save Heroes Esports and to help the channel out. All that you gotta do is download Opera GX. You can find the link down in the description of the video, and then use the browser to watch a couple of YouTube videos, maybe this one here, or for example watch a live stream and play around with it a bit. The browser has an integrated VPN, which is quite helpful of course. It has a lot of themes and customization options and other features that are targeting gamers directly. So just give it a shot, play around with it a little bit, and that's all that you gotta do to support the channel here. It's absolutely free, costs you a couple of minutes of your time, and I would really appreciate if you would do that to support us here. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the show. Game number 2! So, Germany is down 1 game in the series, everybody. At this point, we have 2 more Spider Queen coming in, and the French team, damn, they just turned that game around within a moment. Crazy plays there, fantastic team fight, starting with a kill against Vala and just snowballing it from there, just as it looked like the defense was already done, thanks to the arrows from Vala. So, fantastic performance by the French team, a deserved victory on the first map with a great comeback, and the Germans got to step it up now that we're heading into 2 on the Spider Queen.
Yeah, I think that was a real display of what it is like to play AoE heroics versus single target heroics, right? We saw a lot of the early into the mid game, very good control from Team Germany, really just like finding a target, isolating it, and getting it popped for last right stacks. That was wonderful to see. But as we got into the late game, that was obviously a thing that Team France noticed was, hey, we're getting locked down here on one target. So instead, let's turn around and put our AoE heroics on people on the back line, keep them CC'd out, and then we'll do our own pop-up focus on a target. And I just feel like Team Germany didn't really respect that as well as we got to the late game. And once you lose one in their team composition, you really start to fall apart pretty quickly. So we'll see how it goes into game number 2. But I feel like there was a lot to learn for players in terms of how team compositions unfold in a real game in Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the Chen ban, by the way. That's also against Sugar Daddy. So this would be another high priority pick for him personally. So they are targeting him right now after the Haka performance that we saw in game number 1. Now, again, the 10 heroes that were played before are out. They can't be played again, so they don't have to be afraid of the Haka any longer. Germany is banning out Hogger. And that leaves us with a lot of interesting options here for both of the teams. Obviously, we're talking about Tomb of the Spider Queen. AoE generally reigns supreme. And with a new patch now live, we'll see if there are going to be draft adjustments for them. But right now, again, Falstad, still insane, still crazy good. Tomb of the Spider Queen allows him to stack his auto attacks quickly. It's going to be another frequent flyer build for him.
Has Falstad with his changes, this is a question for you, Khaldor, and it's more of a thought piece. With his changes, have we seen him picked more on smaller maps to try and get those stacks done? Or is it just, hey, Falstad's so good we can pick him anywhere kind of thing?
I mean, smaller maps is a little bit relative because obviously you're talking Braxis is also small, but you have a long distance between the lanes. So
Yeah.
there we have seen sometimes Lightning Rod as an adjustment. But generally speaking, you still have the global play that is always nice. So he is just generally insane right now. And it surprised me that they didn't adjust his frequent flyer build at all. Because it feels like he's the top auto attack damage in the game at the moment. And on top of that, has the global. Might be more squishy than some others, so you have to take that into account, but he is just universally an insane hero right now.
Okay, that makes sense. We do get Garrosh and Chromie on the far right. Johanna was banned out, who you normally want to pair with a Chromie because you want Wave Clear and then allow for her to be able to siege away. But Garrosh will help with the hard engages. Also, it's really hard to walk into a Garrosh, so it makes it difficult to move towards that Chromie. So holding the front line, but I would like to see a little bit more wave clear here for our German team on the Friday. So we'll see that probably picked up in the 3rd and 4th slot. Diablo banned out once again. There is a main tank that is needed here for Team France. So I'm quite curious what they'll be trying to pick up later on in the stages as well. I mean, ETC is still available, right? I don't know how he's doing nowadays, but I do enjoy him against a Garrosh or in a Nubrak as well. Someone that can kind of hold the front line, CC him, but also get out on their own accord.
Pretty well, actually. We see him a lot on Battlefield of Eternity too. So cool. Snuggled in is in as well. Guys, if you missed the meme that we had in the last game, we now have apparently, thanks to a betrayal against me, we have Khaldor Anduin Snuggle Time merch in the merch shop. So the link is in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. If you want to have a laugh, check that out because, yeah, apparently Snuggled in is now a thing. Still
I gotta get my goat facts ready.
Ooh, we get URL. Okay. Yeah, those were missed already by a few people.
Good. I'm glad it brings something to the broadcast.
Together with Deckard Kane, okay. I'm still expecting at least a mage pick here for Team France. A bit more AoE is for sure needed. They got Leo, so that's one, but on the second damage, you could bring in someone like Gul'dan, of course, always. They go for Junkrat instead. And we get Stitches, okay, so light... First of all, Stitches, a hook, pull from Anduin, light bomb on top of it, gust isolation. So they're going for some nice isolation plays here, and we'll play this a little bit more laid back. With Falsa, that can work out quite nicely, but Germany's likely going to try and Prussia. So... Very, very different approaches to this now, with us coming in on the German side with Genji. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, second map, Tomb of the Spider Queen. The French have a chance to clear this out with a 2-0. Keep in mind, super important for Group C. Whichever team wins from these two will draw even in points, for some time being, with the Netherlands, who are currently in first spot. So, without further ado, let's jump straight in. Game number 2. Chance for the French to close out the series with a 2-0 victory as the blue team starts on the left with, shocking, I know, frequent flyer for Falstad, played by Splice. We got Vetters on Leoric, Drax on Anduin, Vlida playing Stitches at the front line for the French, and Lolom on Junkrat.
For Team Germany number 3, we have Sugar Daddy on Garrosh, Athletic Bird on Genji, Menlador on Urella, Smaragd on Deckard, and Timidity playing Chromie. I am really curious about Team France's composition here. I don't know if you guys called it here in Europe, but in America we call this the milk carton comp because someone goes missing. So you're trying to find a picture on a milk carton. You get the Stitches into a Gorge, fall set for a Mighty Gust of Way, and then you have Leoric's Entomb that can lock somebody in and get that single target damage. And I love their wave clear too. So much so that I'm wondering, how is Team Germany going to handle this if they start to lose that early game? But right now they're looking to go for a fight as they step up, get the Groundbreaker, and get a toss on Leoric as he is locked in with them in a fight.
Oh, the bird is dead. Genji, look at that. The bird went for Falstad and took it out. Athletic Bird with a kill. Nicely done. And that is first blood in game number 2. I have to say that we also have some interesting role swaps again on the German side, because they now swapped Menaldor into the side lane. And he's playing on Urel, whereas if you look at the front line, it is Sugar Daddy that is now playing Garrosh. So a little bit of role swap shenanigans going on between them. Deckard Kane is riding the rocket. That's pretty funny for the old geezer. I kind of like that.
I feel like if you're going to go out in life, you should ride a rocket, you know what I'm saying? Just something that's like high octane, make your heart tick really hard before it pops. And, you know, I'm down with that for Deckard Kane. That makes me happy. When I'm old, I'm hoping that I'm that adventurous.
Genji is really going for Falstad right now, as long as he still can. So he wants to be aggressive and try and, I guess, shut down some of the stacking. But the birdie getting his hits in and working together with Leoric at the bottom of the map to get a bit closer to the first quest reward. The blue team is aggressive here. We saw the first kill for Germany, granted, but it is still mainly Team France that is trying to push the envelope on this.
That's what I was talking about, man. That wave clear is such an issue. I think the ban on Johanna may have been a mistake here for Team Germany, because look at this. They're having a hard time just farming this out in the early game. It took them a good, what, 25 seconds to clear out the night camp as well. And meanwhile, you're going to have Team France just rotating around, grabbing everything they can. They got the night camp out. They got the Giants out. They're pushing in the waves, and they're going to slowly get an experience lead. The way for Team Germany to really answer this back is to find kills themselves. And if Falstad's careful around the Genji, it shouldn't be that easy to pull off.
And the problem is that later on, Falstad is just going to do more and more single target damage. So Genji has to be cautious there, especially with Anduin being around and getting the double pull on 16. So yes, this could become a big problem on the wave clear side. If the macro game is dominated by the blue team and then they get the occasional pick as a result of a good hook and gorge, then this could very well turn against the Germans. But we'll see. For now, they're applying some pressure for the back line, and Athletic Bird has one mission and one mission only, and that is try and kill Falstad, and that is what he's been doing ever since this game started.
Yeah, my man mounted from the middle of the map, rotated all the way over, and dashed past 2 people to get on top of him there. Anduin, of course, was ready for it. Drak bringing a solid amount of CC and healing to make sure that he was able to keep his Falstad alive. But yeah, that's kind of what it comes down to. If Falstad can get deleted here, then, of course, they can start to work on the rest of the units coming in from Team France. But Team Germany at the moment has to deal with a Junkrat, who I think is going to be a quiet, great pick here. The delays he has, the traps, the grenades coming in will make it so difficult for Germany to get into the engagements they're looking for.
And we talked about a couple of combos after a Gorge later, but the traps of Junkrat are, of course, another benefit that they have in order to stack more CC on the intended target. For now, though, without heroics, it's just like a mad brawl in the middle around the turning spot, where the blue team already delivered 28 of their own gems.
Looking for those early turn-ins, and it makes sense with us talking about that wave clear. If you get that turn-in early, you're able to take out those forts, which take away those fountains, and you just slowly open up the map and put yourself in a situation to where you have more control over the space. Sugar Daddy, trying to control his own space right now, goes in for a fight, but gets turned around on easily. Menlador is going to try and grab a few of these gems, and he is able to grab a couple of them, so they are not lost to the void. But poor Garrosh, seeing how difficult it can be to play around a Leoric and a Stitches, who can be quite robust in their health bars. They can actually move up and body block you into oblivion.
I gotta admit that the French are just doing way better right now. In experience, there's no gap. It's a kill against a kill, but you can just see how these fights are going and how it always seems that it is basically the red team, the Germans, reacting to what the French are doing. And I'm gonna be happy about that. To me, it's honestly a little bit insane that Falstad wasn't banned. Tomb is the Falstad map right now, simply because you're getting value on the macro side, but then at the same time, you're getting incredible stacks super quickly because the lanes are so close together and your team can help you. So he already has his first quest reward and is sitting at 66 stacks and we're only 5 minutes into the game. He's going to become an absolute monster in the late game. So him not getting banned here is really a surprise to me.
Sure is. We're going to see what Germany's plan is now with Chromie's ultimate availability. Looks like she's actually going to go for the slowing sands. I was wondering if there was a world where we get to Pearl Loop. It would be difficult into an Anduin with his Leap of Faith, but then you can reliably try and force it out pretty quickly. Garrosh taking some damage here from Stitches on the back left, and so is Leoric. Sugar Daddy able to get a heal at the last second from himself by dropping down that guillotine. Here comes Garrosh coming around the left side, and it looks like there's going to be a pull, but the main story of that entire fight is the Web Weavers have descended for the blue team as there was a drop-off in gems.
Yeah, Paulset moved towards the top turning point and got his delivered. 80 stacks already and not even 6 minutes in. Oh boy, they really need something to deal with him, and I am not sure how they are going to fare here. Nice helping hand, but well, that's one way to deal with him. They're trying to go for the kill, and this time he was just a bit too far out there, and honestly, the timing couldn't be any better for Germany. Like, Fawcett, again, we praised him a lot, fantastic job stacking, but that was absolutely avoidable and that wasn't a necessary death, like not by any means. So yeah, that kind of hurts them a little bit. This is going to make it much harder for the French to push.
It was so weird, I kind of thought he was lagging out, because he was kind of like dancing back and forth, but also attacking the Genji, and I was like, man, you don't really want to be like trading with the Genji here, especially with the rotation on the way. We'll have to see what was occurring, as he is for sure in the game now as he flies to the top lane. Now, the Web Weaver push, because of that death, you mentioned it, it was a perfect time for Germany. They were able to clear out the top, middle side pretty well, and even working on the bottom, and guess what? They got a lot of gems on them. 34 already turned in, 54 sitting in their purse, ready to be dropped off as well. And one of the old favorites of 2-minute Spider Queen, man, is get to level 10 and go for a double turn in to really open up the map. And that is now a possible scenario for them. And it would give them a lot of room in this area where they don't have that wave clear. So much lack of wave clear that we actually have Decimate picked up for Garrosh here to help out with clearing and slowing down the opposing team.
20,000 damage for Genji. 14,000 for Junkrat, the top damage dealers on each team, and yeah, that was definitely a mistake from the French. Now, on the other hand, they are absolutely executing against Garrosh down here. Fantastic trap against him, even with the Entomb coming through. So, job well done. France putting him into a corner and then dropping him like a hot potato. The Germans might be able to turn a couple of the additional gems in that they have right now, but yeah, it was a nice move back from the French team after they kind of botched their first turn in of the game.
Sugar Daddy, man, if you want to get bullied, you don't have to pay for it. I know some people online that will do it for free. Walking right into the opposing team and getting thrown into a corner. That was rough. Speaking of possibly getting picked off, Athletic Bird in the top side gets a full trade against Falstad and Anduin. Has to back away. Looking down the bottom, Vleedor gets put to sleep by the old man. It's like Khaldor telling a story about how he's in love Anduin. But the story does not hit fully as Vleedor is able to walk away.
Uh-huh. What is an athletic bird, by the way? It's definitely not an owl or something like this. I expect those are quite lazy. Has to be a hawk.
100%.
Ostrich.
Ostrich. Yeah, dude, those things run all day. You've seen how big their bodies are, man, and they're still able to just like run 40 miles an hour. That's athletic, dude.
Dude, I expected American Eagle from you. Ooh, Deckard!
No, there's way loud and obnoxious.
Yeah, no chance. Not like that. Poor guy gets, first of all, gorged and then entombed, and they just unleash. Deckard down, the old man dead, and again, it just comes through as Germany gets their first turn in. Initially, it was the French that kind of botched turn in number 1, and now they just redeem themselves by shutting down Germany's turn in with a quick double kill and making it nearly impossible for the red team to push with this.
Germany just looking to fight, man, over and over. They jump in straight at the top left side, trying to find those picks with the Webbeers coming in. And to be fair, they would have a location to run to right away, with them having the map objective to help them out. But easy wave clear being displayed here on the top lane as that is dealt with. And of course, Leoric will do the same in the bottom lane so they can all meet in the middle. But Germany wants to fight. Here he comes. Yorel goes in, knocks back 3 people into the corner. Garrosh was able to hit off a Decimate, which is going to slow down the opposing team. Stitches is the next target, and there is going to be a tire flying over to slow down the fight. But what a wonderful engage there for Germany, being down a talent and still making it look close.
I mean, Germany kind of got wrecked, though, because they lost Genji to Falstad, first and foremost, and then they had the push at the bottom lane against them, and in the middle, Junkrat defended against the Web Weaver. So This is starting to really hurt, and Fawcett is getting so close to the second quest reward. Now, look at this. They're going for Sugar Daddy. They get another Entomb out. Another kill. Kill number 6. The blue team turns in. Falstad is basically as his second quest reward. Another... There it is. So he has 50 additional attack damage. I think Germany is definitely on the losing end of this equation. I do not think they're... Honestly, I want to see what they're now trying to do to bring this back, because... everything is currently turning against him. Yes, the French made a mistake with their first turn-in. Falsa got a little bit too cocky and was punished for it, but Splice, ever since, has now played this out well. Even escapes the Genji aggression here, as the rest of the blue team demolishes the fort at the bottom of the map and pushes this even further. They're doing great here.
Yeah, I feel like Germany's game plan is so telegraphed that Team France is being able to stop it so quickly, right? Every time there's been a turn-in, what have we seen? Them just straight up run at their opponents, because kind of what they have to do. They can't really win in a fair, like, straight-up wave clear fight. Here comes Chromie being grabbed on by the Stitches Gorge. Light Bomb comes out a bit too early. They are trying to retreat. Here's the X-Ray on the back line. But during this, Leorg is just pushing the bottom lane the entire time. Hook comes out. Minaldor has 39 gems. They need to get those gems. If they don't get them, they're in trouble. Athletic Bird goes for the kill instead of just grabbing the gems and dashing out, which may have been too greedy. Germany, this might be the end of the road for them here.
Yeah, this is rough. I mean, the fight in the mid lane obviously didn't go their way. Another hook against Garrosh. That's a kill too. The bottom keep is already exposed, down to 50% of its HP. Falstad is just demolishing them after he now got a second quest reward. The damage output that we're getting from Splice here is just too much for them to handle. On paper, he's only at 27,000 damage, but it's that single target damage that is really the problem. They take down the keep at the bottom of the map, and the lead in experience has been extended to 2 levels. They're 2 levels ahead and 1 full talent. It's crazy.
This is one of those scenarios where you hear people utter the phrase draft loss, and sometimes it's just cope, right? They're just talking because they lost the game. This might be one of those scenarios where you can say draft loss, right? I still think that first ban on Johanna, when you want to pick up a Chromie, is a little bit on the awkward side. Put yourself into a bit of a weird situation, and then you just did not match the wave clear or have a game plan aside from kill the opposing team in your draft. Now, of course, there is some stuff in the late game that can't help out, of course. Chromie getting up to her late stage 18, so that she'll get her 20 a little bit early. We can use that. But it is looking really rough at the moment. And, of course, you always have the reset factor available for Genji. We'll see if they're going to be able to pull it off, though. And if they do it, they're going to have a huge uphill battle to climb.
For me, I have to come back to them not banning Falstad. If you play... I've seen too many games on Tomb of the Spider Queen ever since Falstad had his mythic reward coming in, where he just dominates, where you get him into the late game. He has a super easy time stacking. He oftentimes even gets to 300 stacks, but after 150 he turns into the single target damage monster, where most teams are just having too much trouble dealing with him. If you have a healer that is able to keep him in the fight, and a Falstad player that doesn't just run it down mid and int hard, then he's dominant. They were apparently thinking they can shut him down early, and that's just not the case, and that's where the game falls apart for them.
Well, they do have to deal with 3 Web Weavers now and a possible fight in the middle lane. Stitch is going to be the main engage for Team France, being able to land that... Oh, hook, he almost hits it there, just barely misses it, as the bird is able to dash away, and here comes a big wave push. Now, they do have the Knights of this pushing out too, which means there's going to be spell armor additionally on all the members for Team France. This is a massive push. Falls out in the top lane as well, can fly down at any point.
Yeah, Falsa is getting the single target damage in against the fort now, so using all of that to demolish another structure. Hook, Gorge, they go for the old man, and here's the flip. They're trying everything. Where's the Entomb? There it is. The Gust Isolation has taken place, and Deckard Kane gets crushed.
And that's why we call it the milk carton, because we no longer know where Deckard is, man. Please call the number if you need to get a hold of him. 1-800-Khaldor. Leoric, meanwhile, pushing forward, going straight in for Yorel, who's going to pop the happy bubble and be able to heal a little bit of that HP. But the thing is, there's no real major damage here. And every time they trade out in this fight, there's no healing as well, as Deckard Kane is now down. Blue team now moves forward. They start to tank the tower a little bit too much. Let's be careful here as that keep goes down to half HP. And finally, the Web Weaver in the top lane was cleared out. But the real result, the headline here, 19.5 experience to barely level 17 for Team Germany. And that 20 is right around the corner.
Yes, exactly. And once they have 20, they could go for the boss, for example. They still have 40 gems too. They don't have a turn-in, but they're still close enough that they can threaten one soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're looking great here. Honestly, the French, in order to lose this one, would have to make some massive mistakes that Germany can exploit.
It is possible. We've seen it in our lives, Mr. Khaldor.
True.
We've been around for a long time,
Yep.
but I'm with you, man. I'm down with that 1% metric right now, right? Where, like, if you were to look at the win rates, potential for both of our teams, it would be 1% versus 99% right now. Sugar Daddy was going for a flank here, but he gets caught out. Leoric comes in with the Entomb, locks him down. There's a Wraith Walk. Melidor tries to come over and buy some time, but with no ultimate, he's going to have to skedaddle out of there. Genji goes forward with the dash, though, is slowed like crazy. Splice might be able to chase him down. Looking for Vleeter here, who will have a hook.
Dude, the worst thing is that, let's say for a second that, you know, Germany doesn't die immediately and prolongs the game. That just means that Falstad completes the 300 stacks and gets another 125 damage on the auto attacks. So there's just more pain at the end of the tunnel. There's no light there. It's just darkness. Now we have the boss taken. Push through the top.
You should be a motivational speaker.
Who's gonna
man.
break them?
Bro, there's just pain. There's no light there. The tunnel's done. You're over, bro.
I mean, it's true. It's just like
I would hate therapy with you. But you hook comes in. There's an Entomb. Beautifully done. Junkrat does knock them out, which is a little bit on the awkward side here. Leap of Faith on top of Stitches. Wind Tunnel's being used just to stay alive. The keep is now down. There is a flank on the back left side, Khaldor. Could Germany do something here?
Yeah, that's a nope right there. So the core already getting attacked by the boss. Not a single keep standing anymore. Deckard is dead. They are trying to go for Timothy. They are going for Urel. They're just trying to take everybody down that they can find here. They know that the game's over, and the French are having some fun with it. They take Chromie out. The core is already falling in hit points. 16 kills to 3. Dominant performance by the French as they take out the Germans here in Group C. They win the best of 3 series, and they draw even in points with Team Netherlands. GG.
GG.